Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This evening we are going to be doing a comparison between the 2021 Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 fan and the 1990s PMS FD6 6-inch desk fan. Now these two again are very different with themselves. The PMS I got from a family member, and that family member didn't want the fan anymore, and so they let me have it. And it was an old fan of theirs anyway, and they didn't use it anymore. It was just sat in their loft for goodness knows how many years. Still works quite well. And the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 fan as well, I got brand new last year when my local Dunelm were having a clear out, because my local Dunelm still had a few fans left, and I got this for about £5 because it was reduced cheaper, so a customer could buy it for next year. So obviously they're both very different. Like the PMS one is older. The PMS one is like, I think it's similar to a CED, 1990 CED 6-inch desk fan, but the PMS one is actually quite good. PMS one's a nice little powerful fan, and plus the PMS one has got a lot higher of a wattage of motor. So wattage wise, fan motor wattage wise, the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 fan has only got a 15 watt motor, which isn't very good, and the PMS one has got a 25 watt motor, and 25 watts for an old 6-inch desk fan ain't bad. Maybe could be a bit higher, but isn't bad. Or unless if 6-inch desk fans from the 90s were like around 25, 24 watts, I don't know. Yeah, so I like the PMS one. It's had a clean up since. I have taken the front grille off on the PMS one before. Yes, the PMS one still works, even though it's quite an old one. Even though it's quite an old fan, PMS one still works quite well. Although it's a little bit noisy though, because that family member used to call it the noisy fan, the little noisy one. And I think they just wanted to get rid of it. So I said I'd have it. And yeah, so so I just got it from a family member. Just for free. Got it from family member for free. And yes, obviously the PMS one's much better built than the Dunelm one. The PMS one's got a very solid grille, whereas the why did I think I said that wrong? Sorry, so the PMS one has got a very solid grille, the front grille and back grille, very solid, whereas the Dunelm one's got a very flimsy front grille, and the back grille's probably not as good either. So they're both very different, because the PMS one has got grey blades, and the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 fan has got white generic plastic blades. Those blades, I can tell you now, they're not that great. I think the PMS one's blades might be a bit more solid. Those blades, I can tell you, won't last very long, I don't think. It depends how much the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 fan gets amount of use. These are quite cheap and nasty fans these days, whereas the PMS ones from the 90s, so it's better made. I like the PMS one the most in this video, because we're comparing two fans. In this video, I like the PMS one the most because that one's better made. Whereas the Dunelm one, I'm afraid, in one day could become a massive fail, despite how badly made that is. But yeah, they're both just very generic 6-inch fans, but they're okay. I suppose the most best one's the PMS one, whereas the Dunelm 6-inch trim one, I'm afraid, isn't the greatest fan, I'm afraid. Because I can tell you now that, depending how much use the Dunelm 6-inch trim one gets, it probably won't last very long. Depending how much use the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 gets, it probably won't last very long. Whereas the PMS one has lasted for about 30 years, I think. And the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 fan has not been used at all by me. Whereas the PMS one, whenever I went to that family member's house, and they still use the PMS 6-inch. I have used this PMS 6-inch a little bit when it was still their fan, before I got this from the family member. This was when it was still their fan for like maybe a few more years. I did used to use this PMS a little bit just to keep me and my personal area cool on those baking hot days where the family member that this PMS came from, where their house used to get very, very hot in the summer. And so anyway, yeah, so obviously built quality between these is just very, very different now. The PMS one is better built, whereas the Dunelm one is very, very badly built. So I think the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 is obviously the worst one because of its built quality it's got these days. Whereas, as I said, the PMS one has lasted for about 30 years each. On the PMS one, it's like the PMS one's lasted like 30 years. So, and the PMS one is still working really, really well. You might just want to take the front grille off at some point again and clean it if I choose to use that one a little bit. Last summer, when we got quite a big heat wave, the PMS one I did actually use a little bit last summer, but obviously the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 I didn't use because the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 I got before summer was over, a few weeks before summer was over. Right, so we'll have a look on the side. I think the PMS one's going to have another little clean again, but for the time being, the PMS one's alright. It's alright to run for a bit, just turn on. The motor makes a nice noise on the PMS one, whereas the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1, I think that motor makes a really choppy noise, and it starts the Dunelm 6-inch 2-in-1 starts making a pretty nasty noise when you put it onto high speed. It like makes a horrible annoying buzzing noise. It's probably again affecting the motor, like with the built quality of the plastic, whereas the PMS is a bit noisy. Like the PMS makes a bit of a clitty clatter noise, but the PMS one just works fine. I can use the PMS one, it just be a bit clitty clatty, that's all. Again, they look alright. Again, the Dunelm one has a very plain base. Yeah, I can say that base is certainly not well made, I can tell you that now. I think the PMS has got a longer mains cord. It doesn't really say much on there, on the rating sticker for the PMS. It doesn't even have the PMS logo like it is on the badge on the front. I suppose the PMS one is just a brand new remake of a CED, of a 1990 CED 6-inch desk fan. Maybe that's why it doesn't have it, because it's made by different brands. Just a remake of a CED, just let's say for example the remake of a 1990s CED 6-inch desk fan. Right, so we'll run these two. The PMS has, again, a slow starter because it's an older one, so it's better made. So we'll just start the PMS one first. PMS one's got a bit of breeze to it. So again, lowest speed setting is quite good for overnight use. That's the lowest speed setting. If I switch the PMS one straight from low speed to high speed, then the PMS one starts up a bit quicker. Again, that's perfectly good. Yeah, so the PMS one's certainly a bit more powerful. Again, that's perfectly fine. The PMS one I haven't run for a while because it's been put away on top of my shelf. I think I only put the PMS one away like nearly 2 weeks ago, just to try and clean up my fan room in here a bit. That's what demonstrate spin down, see which does better. PMS one stopped first, that's alright. The Dunelm 6-inch Dream one was last. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and see ya.